There's a video of a 29-year-old woman who was talking to her camera phone on TikTok that's gone viral right now. And frankly, we're excited anytime a viral video from TikTok involves a woman who was actually born without male genitalia. So that's already some progress. But what she had to say in her video apparently is part of the controversy. Here, take a look.
It's 10:45 a.m. on a Saturday. I'm 29 and single, and I don't have kids yet. Here's what your Saturday morning looks like when you're single at 29 and you don't have a kid running around the house. I didn't rise from my bed until 10:15. Every time I thought, I should probably get up and do something. I thought, why? Nobody's making me. I'm not missing out on anything. I went to Beyonce last night, and I didn't get home until 1 a.m. And I danced and drank my little heart out, and I didn't pay a babysitter to watch my kids as I did that. And I woke up a tad hungover this morning, which is probably why I was in bed for so long. And I was just scrolling on my phone, and I saw a picture of shakshuka, and I thought, you know what sounds really good? Maybe I'm gonna learn how to make shakshuka today. Because I have no plans, and I don't have kids, and I don't have a husband, and I don't have errands to run. I can go to the grocery store and learn how to make shakshuka. So that's on my agenda today. Also on my agenda, probably a rewatch of some Real Housewives of New York. I'm also doing a rewatch of Normal People on Hulu, which is really spicy and I highly recommend. Weirdly, I'm into this documentary on Netflix about blue zone countries. So I've got a pretty stacked day. Anyway, I say all this to say, whenever I'm hard on myself about why I'm not married and I don't have kids and I should be further along at 29, almost 30, I wouldn't want to do anything else this Saturday. And I know that you can do all these things when you have kids and you're married, and I understand, but the effortlessness and ease of my life, just kind of focusing on myself and the shakshuka I want to make or the Beyonce concert I want to go to, really pays off when I'm hard on myself for not being where society tells me I should be in life.
Wow, if I were only a single man. I mean, she seems like quite the catch, right? I mean, she's a heavy drinker. She watches Real Housewives, and she can make shakshuka. Now, normally this video probably wouldn't go viral just by itself. I think this is the reason why it went viral. Our friend Matt Walsh over at Daily Wire, he retweeted it on X, or re-X'd it on Tweet, or whatever they're doing these days. And his commentary was, her life doesn't revolve around her family and kids, so instead it revolves around TV shows and pop stars. Worst of all, she's too stupid to realize how depressing this is. Well, is it depressing? Is she stupid? Or is there maybe a larger and, dare I say, more nuanced conversation to have about this? Let's bring in Julie Gunlock. She's the co-host of O'Connor and Company on WMAL Radio in Washington, D.C. I'm the O'Connor part of that. And she's also with Independent Women's Forum. So, Julie, first of all, do you know how to make shakshuka?
Yes, it's not that hard.
Okay.
It's like an easy thing to make. And I was kind of laughing at her like, oh, I'm going to learn to make shakshuka. I'm just going to tell you, so I'm going to start off by saying, as the mother of 3 teenage boys, I might just be a little jealous of her Saturday or Sunday. Anyway, her weekend plans.
Yeah.
That sounded kind of wonderful to me.
See, that's interesting because if you're a conservative and you embrace family values and the proper role of women in the nuclear family, you're supposed to condemn this kind of thing.
Yes. You know, I don't disagree with what Matt Walsh said, although the second part, calling her stupid, there's no need for that. I don't think this is a stupid person.
As usual with Matt Walsh, it seems to be like, yeah, I like what he said, just not the way he said it.
Right. And honestly, I do think that it's important to point out these cultural things. Look, she's talking about how great it is to be single and not have any responsibilities and not have any errands and not have kids to take care of. And I think it is important that people push back on that a little bit because my life is very fulfilling and I do have kids. However, she talks in that video about how she gives herself a hard time. She feels bad about not being married and not having kids. She clearly has doubts. And I think she's probably a little bit sad. She probably wants kids. She probably wants a spouse. She probably wants someone to share her life. And she was trying to find a silver lining here. So I think the video, if you listen carefully, she wasn't sort of celebrating this, although she was celebrating the day a little bit. I'm not gonna. But I think that this deserved a little bit more compassion and a little bit more understanding.
I don't know, if you look at it and you look at her eyes, it actually almost, I don't want to be mean, but it sort of seems like a hostage video in the sense that everything's fine. Really, I'm really happy with my life. I promise I am. And you don't really seem like she is that happy.
Yeah, when I watched it, I kind of imagined that meme where everything's on fire behind the person who's going,
This is fine.
Everything's fine. But I know people and I have friends who are not married and they are getting older and they do worry about this. And I think that a lot of women do. And when I see commentary like Matt Walsh's, where he calls a woman stupid, it's just a shock that women tend not to be attracted to conservatism
Yeah.
or to the Republican Party. These are some really, I think, deeply held concerns. And frankly, I think there's a lot of problems with men in this culture who don't necessarily want to settle down and get married at an age where women are able to have children. So you mentioned the word nuanced. I don't think that tweet was nuanced. Not that Twitter is the place to go for nuance,
Right.
but I think that this does really open up an important conversation about where we are socially in this country.
Listen, to bring it back to politics, because we live in Washington and everything's about politics, the single largest demographic voting for the Democratic Party, you could argue actually keeping the Democrats in power, such as it is that woman. Young,
Yes.
white, single,
Yes.
affluent women. They're the biggest group. And if we conservatives want to reach out to them and actually appeal to them, well, maybe we don't demonize. Maybe we should actually, instead of condemning someone for holding the values and principles that we disagree with, maybe we should make our values and our ideas look attractive enough for them to come our way.
Yeah, and I have also a suggestion for conservative women. Don't make parenting seem like such this incredible chore and that you're always put out. Parenting is joyful. Parenting is wonderful. Sure, there are challenges like anything, but we could do a little better. Parenting in general, parents in general could be a little bit more positive when they talk about parenting. There's this sort of like, oh, it's so hard. I mean, I'm guilty of that too.
You are.
Right? Every time I go to the grocery store and I'm like, where's my money going? Right?
But that's
But I
not
think
parenting. That's just surviving in Biden's economy, right?
Right. Good point. Good point. But I do think that sort of this woe is me, oh, everything's so difficult. I'm such a hero for raising kids. We need to cut that out a little bit.
Right.
It's a wonderful thing to do. We need to be more encouraging of it. We need to address men in this country who don't seem to want to make commitments to younger women and get married and start on that path for life. So again, there's a lot of work here to be done. I feel a lot of compassion for that woman. I don't think she's stupid, and I'm glad that it's kicked off this conversation.
Well, and this is a big part of what I think Independent Women's Forum, the organization you're aligned with, brings to the table, because you do have a way of communicating principles and values in a way that isn't off-putting, and I think that is incredibly important. It's funny, Matt Walsh's colleague, our colleague Ben Shapiro, my friend Ben Shapiro, he's famous for saying facts don't care about your feelings, and that is true, but we human beings do care about each other's feelings.
Well, also, I think we need to not forget that Oprah was a big part of our country for a long time, and she really created this world in which feelings matter. Now, we may not like that.
Feelings do matter, but she created a world where feelings only matter.
We're the only thing,
Yes.
exactly. We're the only thing that matters, and we need to sort of operate in that world and not sort of kick people in the face when they produce videos like this. Really examine the issue. Don't call names, that kind of stuff. I think IWF is very skilled at doing that. And so that's probably why I've been with the organization for 16 years. It's probably when I see videos like this and I see reactions like that I'm like, cringe. That's not how women don't react well to that kind of messaging.
That said, she did say something in there that I want to challenge here, where she said, anytime I get down on myself for not doing what society tells me I'm supposed to do. Is society really telling her she's supposed to do that? It seems to me society's saying do exactly what she's doing, which is you don't need a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle.
Yeah, this is a famous bromide, or a favorite bromide of the left, where they just say it's all a social construct. Girls play with dolls because society tells them that dolls are for girls and guns and swords are for boys. It's all baloney, right? And we can all pretend that society's telling you to get married. Sex and the City, famous show about put your career first. Every single one of the women, the characters on that show, wanted meaningful relationships, and most of them wanted, except the one, but most of them wanted relationships, marriage, and the fulfillment that brings. So we're not going to escape that. Again, we can pretend that is not the goal of many people, but it is. And again, this woman really, I think, reflects a sadness out there in society, how it is very hard to find a life partner. It's very hard to find people who will share your life goals, have children, grow a family. It's really, ultimately, it's a sad story.
And if I may say, I mean, she's excited about Beyonce concerts, staying out late, drinking heavy, and watching trash television. Honestly, I don't want her having children right now. She's got a little learning to do. All right, Julie Gumlach, we'll leave it there. Thanks for joining us, though. Good stuff.
Thanks for having me
And
on.
we love Matt Walsh. We do. It's just, once in a while, just rethink before you hit send. There's more to come on O'Connor Tonight.